Good afternoon, everybody, or I guess good morning in some places. It's turned afternoon where I'm at. Thanks for joining us today. Today I have, I'll say two things, and one of them will be in two flavors that I'll show you. And if you have any questions along the way, please feel free to ask them. And once I go through these few things, if you have any questions, I can certainly answer them then as well. Or if there's any other skills or whatnot that you want me to show, or any other types of things that you want me to work through, please feel free to enter those in the Q&A. So there we go. So the first two things I'm going to show you today deal with generating agreements or contracts. If you have standard forms that you want to use, whether that be in a corporate setting, some corporations will have, standard agreements, and they try not to stray too far from them. Sometimes in firms, you'll have some of the same stuff. Or as an attorney, you have a client that asks you for an NDA or a licensing agreement or something like that. You want the document fast, and you want it to be consistent with what you've done before, so you know what's in it. So I've set up a couple skills that are along those lines. Let's see. So what I've done with this one, as with any skill, if you have a skill in here that you've created, you can delete it by clicking the trash can button, of course, but you can also edit it to update it or correct it or whatnot. So if I do that on this generate NDA from a uploaded standard NDA, this one's really basic. What this skill does is it asks you to upload a standard NDA template, and once you invoke this skill, and then you just tell it what to fill in the blanks. So I'll show you that one real quick. But if I wanted to edit this, I could always edit it, type it in, whatnot, click share with team or not. Maybe I don't want to share this one with the team. And then I just click confirm. And then let's go ahead and invoke the skill. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to upload the NDA. Take one moment. Give it a name. That's uploading. If I go back to the skill. Okay. All right, it's uploaded. So I want to tell it what the name of the other party is. So let's just say, please generate the NDA with the other party being Acme Corp of Las Vegas, Nevada. So if you take a look at the standard NDA, it's a standard form. So what the skill is doing is it's pulling the text out of it. It's going to regurgitate that over here on the right, but it's going to fill in the blanks. And then you have the whole thing, the whole NDA generated. Now you might have other blanks you wanted to fill in, and you can specify that as well, such as here, if we scroll, we look, it filled in Las Vegas, Nevada. I could have given it a more complete address. I could have told it to, for company, have my name here and my title, and it would have filled that out too. But you end up with an NDA filled out according to your standard agreement. And you can upload other templates or whatnot and have skills specifically for those. Now, in this one, you need to upload the template, which, that takes you a little bit longer. You have to remember where you stored it and everything. So what you can do, there's another way to do this. Let me go back to the skill button. This is just going to complete filling it out or providing the text. So I go over to the skill library, I created another one, but I can't find it. So just a reminder of how the interface works. You can type in this search function here and it will pop up. So here's the one I'm looking for. I just click that, it will invoke it. And the way I have this one set up is just the skill that's stored is just the template, the text of the template. I can make it a little bigger so you can see it. The text of the template for the NDA. But you can use other agreement types like here at Black Hills. What I'll probably do is I'll take our standard contracts that we have with our customers and put them in here in addition to this NDA. And so that our sales team can go ahead and generate contracts for new customers and new services very quickly. But here we say, please generate the NDA with Acme Corp of Las Vegas, Nevada, as other party. So that should fill in some more of the blanks. I'll go ahead and make this bigger. And once you have this text, you can just copy and paste it into a Word document or email or wherever you want to send it, and it'll be ready. One thing that's different with the way that this one's being output, if you see your output coming out in a box like this, if you want, you can just click this right here, and it will generate, or it'll copy what's in here into your text, into your clipboard. So when this is done, we'll just go ahead and do that. It'll take just a few minutes. So yeah, so you can create your own agreements or other document templates, and then ask it to fill those out. You can create those templates as within a skill itself, or you can choose to upload like a Word document with that skill in it. Another way you could do it is if you, let's see, if you start a new project, you can click upload here, and then go to text, and you could paste in your agreement text here. So if it's a one-time thing, you could just paste it in here without even having to upload it. Maybe you don't have it as a document or whatever, you have it in an email. You can paste it in here and then ask it to do the same thing. So I guess that's 3 ways to do an NDA or an agreement type thing, or working from a document template. So we'll just wait for this to finish up real quick. There, it's finishing up. There it is. Fills in the blanks. So then if you click here, you can copy text. You can download it as a document here in a Word document. So you don't even have to paste it in, or you can save to a project. And then that would save it right up here. So, okay. All right, so that is a second thing, or there's 3 things with the same task, 3 different ways to do it. So another thing that we can do is we can quality control a patent application. So I have an old patent application draft in here, and I have a skill over here on the left. And the idea here is that you can define a skill that can perform some quality control checks on the draft before you say send it off to a client, or if you're a junior attorney, before you send it to your supervising attorney, or if you just peer review your applications, you can apply your own quality control. It could even just be, your own set of quality control that you want to do to make sure that your work product is up to par. Another use case here is if you're an in-house attorney and you're reviewing work product from outside counsel, to approve it or decide whether or not to proceed with filing or asking for revisions to it. You can define your own skill to, do certain things. For example, you could look for the presence of patent profanity type terms, and so on. You can ask it to draft additional claims. Now, the way that you prompt in AI tools can make a difference in how you get the outcome. And sometimes when you prompt AI tools to perform something for you, it might explain what you would do to do the analysis. And then you're like, okay, well, that's helpful. You already know that. But then you prompt it again to actually perform the analysis. So sometimes you'll get strange output like that. And that's, something that we're working on to minimize. But at the same time, some of that will just kind of happen. So if you see that, just submit another prompt, prompt the tool in a new way, and to target it at the same output that you're looking for, and you'll get better. And then also with your skills, like this skill I just started typing up this morning. I took a copy of it from another skill I was working on and modified it a little bit. So there are still some issues with this one, but I generated this one pretty quickly. And if you run into issues or you want help defining the skill, feel free to reach out to us. You can send me a message at jhallenbeck at blackhills.ai. Here, I'll type that here so you can see it. So that's that one. You could also email support at blackhills.ai, or you can reach out to your salesperson or email sales at blackhills.ai. Any of those, and we'll take care of you. We'll help you along the way. So I'm going to go. I see somebody just submitted a question. I haven't looked at it yet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and prompt this. And while it's thinking, I will take a look at the question. And the output from this, well, we may have to take a look at it and refine it a little bit, but let's see what we get today. Okay, so the question now. Yes, we received a question. Can we get a trial? Can we get a trial access to evaluate the tool? Absolutely. You can email sales at blackhills.ai, sales@blackhills.ai, and just request a trial. And our sales team will reach out to you to get that set up for you. You could also email me, but the sales folks, I'll just refer you over to the sales people. So we have 3 over there. That's Mike Rivero, Lori Brown, and Ari and Evmar. They'll help you out. Okay, so I answered that one live. So we can start looking at the output from here. So what we asked here, the first thing is please consider whether all words in the claims appear in the specification. And this is a trick that I've been using to make sure that increase the likelihood that what I'm asking it to do is actually performed when I'm using a skill. Is I'll ask it to please move through the step of the outline, explain the methodology to perform the analysis specified, and then provide your thorough findings from actually performing the analysis. That avoids this. There's this thing where we're finding, not just us, but a lot of folks using AI tools, that the AI tools are getting kind of lazy and they're telling you how to do it. And so what I've found is that if you tell it to explain what they're going to do and then actually do it, give us the findings of that analysis, you get a pretty good output then, or a more thorough output. So anyway, so I asked it to see if there's all the words in the claims appear in the specification, and so it said where it looked, said the terms it found. Where is it? So it looks like it found all the terms. Yep. Each significant term, so this includes, okay, so it found them. Yep. And then the next thing we asked to do was please consider whether the claims are sufficiently enabled. That's not necessarily the most common thing to ask, but it might be useful. It might help you find if you overlooked something, or maybe you didn't describe something thoroughly enough. But here it's telling us that it does include this description. It looks sufficiently detailed to enable a person to have an ordinary skill in the art to practice the invention. Okay, great. So if it is enabled, identify any potential enablement issues. Okay, so these would be edge cases, right? So it's telling us here that it would be prudent to ensure the encryption and decryption processes are described in enough detail to be reproducible. So that's something to look at to see if it's good to go. So I just got another question here. So the question came in, I am using the trial now and have a couple questions. Do you have access to all of our data when we use this tool? Does any third party like ChatGPT to our data? No, the data is not accessible. So if you have any questions, please do ask us. Please reach out and ask us and provide the data that you're working with, and we will help you with your issues. So we can recreate it, the issue you're having, and work through it that way, or save your session and we can get on a Zoom call or Teams call and do a screen share. So okay. So here, this is interesting that it identified an area where, hey, this might be an area where you might want to provide some more description, even though it likely is sufficiently enabled. So, okay, so the next one was claim term. Asking a claim term is typically a noun. Please provide a listing of all the terms used in the claims and provide an example of how each claim term is used. And so that's useful if you want to make sure that all your claim terms are defined and described in the specification and where you might be able to find that. Looks for any undefined claim terms. Consider any terms used inconsistently or with their ordinary meaning. Yeah, so that's, you can define your own set of questions. So here I asked it to draft 3 additional claims, and it provided some example claims. That's kind of interesting. If these aren't necessarily claims that you'd want to use, but it can give you an idea of other ways to claim the subject matter that you're already claiming, and you might prefer the approach that the recommendation is providing, or it might help you identify that, hey, those claims I drafted were better, or help you identify ways you might be able to improve your work product. Maybe you want to add additional claims. Another thing you could certainly do with these additional claims is you could add a few more paragraphs at the end of your application as examples or whatnot, so you have literal support in the event that you'd want to pursue those claims later, whether that be in the US or Europe or elsewhere in the world. So the consideration of specific words in the specification, that was these words here, generally accepted patent profanity. Here it found the word invention. I'm familiar with this application, but it was just saying that in that part of the specification, it was just a generic part of boilerplate saying that describing the invention generically, but not referring to any specific embodiments. But that points it out to where you may want to consider whether or not you want to include that. So the last one on the list was, please consider whether there are any concepts in the specification that are not thoroughly described. If so, please explain and generate additional description for consideration. There it didn't, but what we could do here then, see these claims and say, please generate description for the application based on the 3 claims drafted in 12. And then it'll take the words of the claims and describe them in more prose that you may want to copy and paste at the end of your application or whatnot. As with any text that's generated using this AI tool or any other AI tool, it's always prudent to be sure that you read what you're copying and pasting into your work product. And additionally, you want to make sure that it's accurate. If there's any references back to the specification or other parts in the application or claims or any particular other documents, whether they be, case citations or whatnot, please check those. Just make sure they're accurate. What we found many times or most times inside of our tool, if citations are being provided to patent cases that may come from the MPEP, for example, the citations are accurate and typically used appropriately, but don't take that for granted. Don't take that for granted. Okay, so there's a question here. Can you use the tool to prepare a prosecution response or drafting arguments on 102 or 103 rejections? Yeah, you can. So let me go back to the skill library. So we're done with this one. So I'll go back to the skill library and let's see. Evaluate an office. Let's see here. Okay. Let's try this one. Try this skill here. Let me upload some documents. This will take just a few minutes to upload some documents. These are some documents I'm fairly familiar with because I have used them quite a bit in different examples. So some of you have probably seen these before. And so what I'm uploading here, I'm uploading an office action response shell because the claims are in there, the current claims, a copy of the application, and then the cited references. So we'll upload those. Take just a minute. And when these red dials quit spinning, we will we'll then be able to submit a prompt. What's going on in the background is the tool is processing these documents to ingest the documents into its knowledge base, but that knowledge base only exists within this session, and they'll exist. They won't be shared with other sessions. They won't be stored or used for any training outside of this session. And when you're done with this session, you just click this trash can and it obliterates the data and it's totally gone. So just waiting. Here's how we can prompt it. Copy this prompt. Oops. What we're going to ask it to do is prepare a response to any 101 rejections, prepare any needed amendments, including citations to locations in the application where support for the respective amendments can be found, and multiple arguments regarding any 112, 102, 103 rejections. Please also identify any subject matter described in the specification that was not claimed. So we're going to go ahead and submit that. It's going to take just a minute to get that back. So that's churning. Okay, that's pretty quick. You'll see that it's generating a response to the 101 rejection. Now we have some different skills that you can apply that make it more detailed arguments or have arguments that are more specific to the different examples from the patent office. But this is a quick and dirty skill that's more generally applicable to the office action as a whole rather than to specific rejections. A skill to a specific rejection you can fine tune to maybe provide you a more thorough or lengthy type of result and performing a more detailed analysis, but this one is pretty quick. Now, there's another question: does the system work with any other patent statutes, European Patent Convention, for example? Yes, it can. I don't have any examples today to show you on that, but what I'll do is I'll take a note on that and see what we can do for a demo of that in our next workshop. Alrighty. So, okay, so as with any arguments that you submit to the patent office, even if you generate a good argument and even if you believe it's correct, that doesn't necessarily mean that an examiner will agree with you. But I mean, that's why we appeal and so on. And it is possible that we're wrong, and you know, just an argument that comes out of this tool, even though it may be quite compelling, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to win the day. So just keep that in mind too, that we're doing our best with our tool to generate good arguments and compelling arguments, and sometimes good arguments still don't carry the day. So anyway, okay, so here it's telling me the 103. Yeah, there's a 103 rejection, not a 102, but here we're seeing it's giving us an argument with regard to the 103. So then that's pretty short though. Let me see, do we have a skill that we could invoke for the 103 a little bit? So let's see, why don't we upload those same documents here in the 103. And we'll just generate a all right, so the way that this one is set up, I need to rename this to pending claims. Okay. See if we can get a more thorough 103 analysis here. Nope, we need to change this to specification too. This will take just a moment. So if you run a more generic type of skill against the office action, and you get a response, and you know it may not be as thorough as you want, or you want to argue more, or you want a more in-depth analysis before you start working on the case, you can go ahead and set up a 103 specific skill, and you see this. There's here it outlines the detail and how you go through a different types of 103 analysis, and yeah, it'll get you a more thorough analysis. And so if you want help setting up such a skill, again, please feel free to reach out. Happy to help you get that set up and help you fine tune it for your needs, or help you come up to speed on how you might fine tune a skill and whatnot. So. So yeah, so you see here, you get a very thorough analysis. So the question came in is, can you use this tool to draft a patent application from a set of drawings? We do not have that skill right now. We do not have that ability right now. There's a number of AI tools that are on the market. There's some that are tailored specifically for drafting patent applications. And our goal is to provide you a tool that's useful in many different areas of patent practice and IP practice in general, to do many different things rather than one specific skill. We do have the ability to help you draft patent applications within our tool. I think I'm happy to show those to you. Again, there's a recorded webinar from 2 weeks ago that we did like this, a workshop where we went through a lot of those scenarios. It's available on our YouTube channel. But if you would like a specific link, feel free to reach out again. You can email us at sales@blackhills.ai, sales@blackhills.ai, or you can email me directly. I'll put my email down here again. There's my email address. You can email me there. So yeah, so you'll see there's a lot of, interesting information coming out about the rejections based on what the skill is figuring out, and yeah, so it will help you with 102s, 103s, and so on, for overcoming rejections. So that's what we have there. It's still going. It'll keep going for a little bit. And there's 11 steps total in this. At the bottom, it'll come up with a draft response. Well, I guess 10 and 11. So that's that. Do we have any more questions today? I'll let this keep running. Do you have any more questions or any requests for topics for the workshop in 2 weeks? Feel free to submit those in the chat as well, or again, you can email me, and happy to cover those. Prepare some specific content specifically for answering your queries or your requests. Happy to do that. Okay. Well, that's all I have today. Feel free to stay on to watch the final result here, but that's all I have for you today. I'm going to try and keep these to a half an hour, going forward, because I don't want to take up too much of your time, and I want to make the content consumable in the YouTube recordings of these. So if this a YouTube recording or recording of this will be available on YouTube, if you wanted to share it with any of your colleagues, and so on. So I think we need to, here's another one of those prompts. We need to re-prompt it so that it will give us a more thorough response. But yeah, but thank you again for tuning in today, and I look forward to answering any further questions that you might email us. Thanks. Have a great day.